cats. I have no idea where I'm supposed to start with cats. This film, after I watched it, drove me to create a YouTube channel just to talk about it. You know, I couldn't limit myself to Instagram captions anymore. Like, this movie isn't real. It's an anomaly. Cats shouldn't be real in this plane of existence. At least not in the way it's been presented. If I could sum up my time watching this film, I would say that it's a very out-of-body experience. The moment Ava and I entered the theater room, it was clear that we had entered an alternate, new, forbidden dimension. We had just seen the movie Bombshell. We just decided to hop into Cats. We thought the theater would be empty, but there was a half a row of people sat in the center. They all clearly knew each other, and they had been seated before us. So we sat all the way in the back. To our dismay, those people seemed to be under some sort of trance. They seemed to be legitimately, unironically invested in the film. I question the motive of whichever witch cursed them to such a hell, and I am glad I have not been bestowed upon by such terrible luck. Because this movie was unlike anything I have ever seen before, and I've seen a lot of movies. Now, I haven't seen a lot of, like, old movies, but in terms of theatrical releases, at least the big ones, I see most of them. I see a lot of movies. And Cats is unique. And that's a very applicable term in this situation. It was already a strange choice for a stage play adaptation. Like, the play itself is fairly plotless and plotting. And really, the thing is that with most stage plays, it's really made impressive by captivating performances by live artists. That's always usually genuinely impressive. But movies are a different format. To make a good film, it's just essential to have a strong, good plot with morals and with nuance, and at worst, good movies can sometimes get away with having serviceable stories to present maybe character drama, thrilling action sequences, or whatever else. Stage plays can at least get away with having less plot because it's live, and that in of itself makes it more impressive at least, but even then, there are better plays and musicals out there beyond Cats, specifically because they have better plots. Better plots make better cinema, they make better plays. So to me, it was just baffling to choose Cats because there's just no plot to speak of. And so, the original play is 3.5 hours long, and that was even shortened down to make a film that was just 2 hours. So you might think, okay, they're condensing the plot, that's what they're doing. That would be a good thing, but that's not what they did. To put it into perspective, the film's main character, played by Taylor Swift, barely has any lines or even singing throughout the whole movie. This movie is just straight up a fundamental mess. So although Cats may not really have a discernible plot to really speak about, there is something else of note. Its visuals, special effects, and production and character design have all been slammed for good fucking reason. This movie isn't just nightmare fuel, it's alien, it's extraterrestrial. Whoever designed these creatures probably doesn't come from this world. I don't even know what to say about the cats themselves. You know, you go from people dressed as cats on stage to these horrible, vile, foul, mutant CGI abominations. And I think the thing that needs to be criticized the most, in all fairness, are their designs themselves, because, fine, the actual CGI on the cats themselves is on purely a technical level. Technically speaking, well done, okay? And that's not a good thing. But, technically speaking, it's there. It's just, there was obviously a lot of money put into the special effects for these creatures. They didn't look fake, they didn't look plastic. They looked the way they were intended to be. They're good in an unreal, metaphorical way. But they're horrendous. The designs of these cats are just fucking awful. there's really no other way to put it. They're too human, they're too cat-like, they're too alien, all at the same time, and the acting doesn't do it any favors. All of the actors act like they are role-playing in bed. It's so disturbing how oddly sexual this film is. Like, if an orgy were to have happened mid-screening, I wouldn't have batted an eye. I cannot stress how horny these cats are throughout the whole movie. It's ridiculous. The actors take that cat-like behavior far too far, while combining it with just enough human behavior so as it comes across as like they all just want to fuck each other. The special effects and the body acting combined makes for one hell of a movie. Like, the people in front of us were kind of into it for some reason, and I think the worst part about it is that, like, I couldn't even assume they were furries or anything, because I'm pretty sure, you know, furries at least like cartoony animals, and not whatever the fuck these are. The worst designs in cats aren't the cats, though. That's the worst of it. The mice, and especially the cockroaches, make the cats in Cats look tame in comparison. They are some of the most putrid, most disgusting, vomit-inducing, sadistic creature designs in cinematic history. You know, a creature like the Thing is at least in a horror gross-out movie, but it's made terrifying for being a monster, but having that combined with distinct humanoid features, and the same can be said for these mice and roaches, and the cats to an extent, but not nearly as bad. They do not belong in the mortal realm. I feel like I've honestly betrayed God for seeing these things with my own two eyes. It's nightmare fuel. I know I said it was worse than nightmare fuel, but it's beyond that. And that's not even the end of the visuals, because the production design is just jarring and off-putting. Not only does everything pop out as overly symmetrical and colorful like a Dr. Seuss book, so it's so ugly, but the proportions were exasperatingly, shockingly off. The cats in some scenes looked like they were the size of regular cats in a human-sized house. Okay, fine. But in other scenes, like out in the train tracks, they look like they're the size of mice, and in some scenes, like when they're out in town, they look like they're the size of humans. It's baffling that it comes off this way, considering the budget of the movie is not small, and not only that, the sets are just straight up ugly. Like, it's so jarring a movie would not scale anything with consistent proportion. It's so weird. And that's kind of what the movie is most well known for. And I want to talk about what little plot is in the movie, because I'm sure nobody gives a flying fuck about the plot. So Taylor Swift and Laurie Davidson are there at the beginning of the movie. They do their little intro bit, because they're the main characters, right? Well, wrong. After this, Taylor Swift barely says anything else in the movie. You know, the camera just kind of follows her around. She's on screen, but she doesn't say much. So they kind of discuss how Judi Dench is like the leader or something, and that she's going to choose the annual Jellicle cat, meaning that the selected cat will be reborn into another life. So basically, they enter a song competition to see who gets to die. That's it. That's the entire movie right there. The whole film is a consistent barrage of character introductions, of characters that we don't ever really see again, who don't have any other meaningful place in the movie. And after they sing the intro bit to the plot of the death cult, Rebel Wilson sings about how fat and lazy she is, before getting Thanos snapped out of existence by Idris Elba. Well, she ends up on a boat or something, and she gets tied up because Idris Elba wants to be the Jellicle. But, like, it's so totally obvious from the beginning he's not going to be the Jellicle because he's cheating. So he can, like, teleport with the power of catnip? Like, I don't get it. So, and then, James Corden, one of my least favorite comedians, who also happens to be, one of the worst parts of the movie, sings also about how obese and lazy he is, while injecting some, quote-unquote, comedy into the scene. Unfortunately for the audience, James Corden is viscerally unfunny, and interrupts his own fucking song and the pacing of the film to talk about how slurs and labels are bad. Okay, fine, I agree with that, but he's literally using slurs and labeling himself throughout his fucking song. Like, I'm sorry, I hate him. But beyond that, each song is just entirely disconnected from the plot, aside from like one. Literally one. They're all vapid, they're meaningless, they're pointless, they don't push forward the plot, and they inhibit the pacing. And the songs themselves aren't exactly anything to write home about either. There's maybe like 2 catchy ones, and there's one that I do think is kind of legitimately good. And at the end of the film, Jennifer Hudson is selected to be the Jellicle because she was just lonely and wanted some friends, which was nice, I guess. I mean, she sung the best song. So by the end of the film, though, so she gets all her friends because she sings so good. So she gets everything she wants, and then she's just selected as the Jellicle, and she's subjected to death via floating into the sky in a hot air balloon. And it's just like, is she gonna starve to death? Is there like a magical thing going on? Because there's magic shown throughout this movie. Like, the fuck? It's just so dark and so bizarre. She gets everything she wants. She's happy. She finally has everything her character desired through the movie, which we know from like 5 minutes of singing, because no character is really in the movie, really. And she just loses it all because she has to be the Jellicle because she was selected to be. And she's like, oh yay, I get to die, ha 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 ha. And like, huh? So after that, Idris Elba's sad he didn't get to be the Jellicle, whatever. And then all the rest of the cast sing about how cats should be treated. Like, it's disconnected from the plot. Like, there's barely any plot, and you don't connect the songs to it. What kind of universe does this movie exist in? So, like, you'd swear, after such an outlandish film, that the filmmakers had, like, never even seen a movie before. But Tom Hooper directed A King's Speech, a great movie, so I have no fucking clue what the fuck he was doing. Like, So, as for compliments, I'm gonna say that there are some legitimately respectable things about the film, despite everything pointing towards the opposite direction. I don't feel like this is the worst movie of the year, and that's really because the movie felt genuine and passionate. Like, everyone involved actually did care about the authenticity of the play. Like, the songs, despite most of them being just passable, honestly, not anything special, not anything exasperatingly bad, it sounded like there were no modern updates and no auto-tune at all. Like, if you look at recent Disney live-action garbage piles, the music is updated to fit modern styles, which ends up sounding like hot trash, especially in the new Aladdin 2019. And these films usually also have an unbearable and embarrassing amount of auto-tune, which Cats actually thankfully lacks. All of the sounds sounded like the actors actually sang them and put all their effort into it. And as alien as this movie is, I felt that the creatives behind the cameras actually did care. I have no clue why anyone would allow it to happen in execution, but here we are. Like, there was legitimate care put into this movie. So I'm not going to deny that this movie is awful. It's very awful, but I have to say, I do think it's probably the best kind of awful. Like, it's a train wreck or a car accident you just can't peel your eyes off of. And ironically speaking, this movie is absolutely fantastic. You know, when a movie is given a lot of love, it's usually entertaining in one way or another. And in this case, it was ungodly, bafflingly bad. But unlike the boring, safe, derivative, generic, and unspecial blockbusters that continue to bombard and plague the film industry, Cats is memorable and will honestly likely be talked about for years to come. So, to sum it up, I think Cats is just an absolutely incredible experience and a fantastic film that I pray to God that I won't ever have to see again. Except maybe if I were on drugs. So yeah. Like, I can't say I can confidently say that you should go out and watch this movie, because I didn't even pay for this movie. I wouldn't pay for this movie. And, you know, it is technically boring. It's just the fascination around it of how the hell it got made makes it more entertaining. And the fact that it isn't just a safe play like Men in Black International, which was probably just equally or more of a heap of shit. Like, I can honestly say that I'm, in a way, a little... I shouldn't say happy. If there was a more tame word for happy, I'm a little content that this movie exists. Because at least we can say, yeah, ooh, she exists, instead of looking at, like, let's say I'm haha, wink wink nudge nudge, the new Jumanji exists. You know, I'm gonna give that's like a solid, maybe like a 1.5, maybe a 2, because there is some respectable stuff to this movie. Maybe it probably deserves a 1. It's somewhere around that ballpark. Basically, it's bad. I cannot recommend that you watch it, but maybe if you're a film a film buff, it might be worth the watch, because it's that kind of bad movie, where it's so bad you have no idea how it got made, because this movie's bombing at the box office. It's not doing well. For good reason. I don't think this movie really deserves to make money. It's terrible. It's awful, but I'm so glad I watched it once. Okay, well, hope you enjoyed. Bye!